Good evening. Welcome to the regularly scheduled Jefferson County Board of Education meeting on Monday, August 28th. And do we have anybody here to lead the Pledge of Allegiance?
We surely do.
All right.
This is Star Brathwaite, and Star is a first grade student at T.A. Lowry Elementary School, and she is also Little Miss Jefferson County. She was one of 54 contestants at the fair and won last week. So it's our honor that she's here to lead us in the pledge.
Congratulations.
Ready?
Congratulations.
Ready?
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job.
Thank you very much.
Well done.
Oh, good. Okay. Copy that.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am. Thank you. Congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
All right. Madam Superintendent, do you have any comments this evening?
No, ma'am.
All right. Approval of minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes for the regular board meeting held August 14th?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, action to approve minutes for the special board meeting held August 7th. Do we have a motion for that?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Perfect, thank you. All right, citizens' comments. I believe we have 2 this evening. And just a reminder to please keep your comments to under 3 minutes. And unfortunately, it's not on the agenda for this evening, so we can't respond to you. I just want to make sure you understand that up front. And also, from what I understand, a letter did go home to students that participated in this program today, so I'm not sure if you received those or not. But that might be of some help to you this evening. Hopefully they did receive them. If not, they'll bring them home tomorrow. So, first we have Shelley Gissing. Sorry.
That's okay.
That sounded so cool.
All right, I just want to thank you for letting us speak.
Ma'am, if you could just speak in the podium.
Because we record it, ma'am, and it helps us later follow up with you.
I was curious about that, actually. All right, well, thank you for letting us speak. I want to just say I really just want this to be resolved. I'm here to advocate not just for my daughter, but for all the kids, because I in beginning this process, it was a question of just wondering what went wrong, knowing my child's habits, knowing her GPA, knowing how well she does in certain things. It didn't make sense, and I just wanted to see, just like I would in any math class, history class, English class. I asked her to inquire with a possible teacher, where did I go wrong? Show me what I did wrong. It wasn't a matter of failing or passing, just show me what I did wrong. That question was never able to be answered. So then I, as a parent, started advocating for her and then advocating for all the other kids because the question could never be answered. I continued to hear it was just, it was tested and graded by a professional health teacher. Never was anything ever resolved. No questions were answered. And again, I kept emphasizing, if this was any other class, you'd sit down with the student. You'd tell them what they did wrong so they could improve on it. I'm not saying she didn't fail. I'm just saying show her where she went wrong. And that was important to me. So I am here advocating for all the kids who just want to see what they did wrong. But again, as I dug into this, the procedures on how this went down, no one could answer the question. I got very few email responses. I felt like I was being pushed around, and then the poor guidance counselor didn't know whether to go ahead and put me in a health class, keep me in my daughter's math class, and no response after no response, or the same repeated response. So the communication was just completely broken down. And of course, my daughter was, as the week drew on, do I stay in my math class? Do I go and take health? Am I going to graduate? What's happening? So it was a buildup of frustration all along. And then starting from the beginning, it was pointed out to me how the health book that she was told to study from was inadequate. Then she was given a new study guide partway through, so she had to study both, which was fine with me. She's above average student, so study both. But then the rubric changed, and then emails changed, people changed, then emails were coming to me, not her. It just, everything was a breakdown of communication. So at that point, again, I'm an advocate for all these students. And if she did fail, then she deserves to fail, but she deserves to be told why. And then last and final, I just want to know why we're still requiring health for a graduation requirement, especially when we're starting health awareness as young as first grade. Has anyone even talked about that yet? I remember when I was in high school and we kind of started dabbling in health, and it was sex ed. Yeah, and that was a long time ago, but nowadays we talk about it a lot more at a lot younger age. And it just seems to me that it's a classroom requirement for a whole different reason, and it doesn't seem necessary for a graduation requirement. And so it's just something for you all to think about, and maybe it needs to go beyond this for somebody to think about for the standard core curriculum. You know, I don't know, just something to think about. But that's really all I have to say. So.
And Chrissy Budinsky?
You got it. I'm more reading because I'm not great at public speaking, but I'm here tonight in hopes of preventing future issues with the process for testing out of the health course requirement for high school students. I would like to suggest a syllabus be included to make sure there are clear written instructions as well as guidelines stating what's expected of each student from the beginning to the end of the testing out process. If the health exam is a two-part process, as it was this year, with a written competency exam and a lab component, I would suggest that it be made clear in the syllabus how each part of the health exam would be weighted or graded. If there is an essay, the student should be provided a rubric showing the essay expectations. They're given rubrics in school when they're told that they need to do an essay, and I would expect, the same to be done throughout every thing they're given. I would also suggest that the parents and students be notified of the health exam results no less than 1 week before the beginning of the school year. This way, they would have a little time to try to have schedules adjusted accordingly without overwhelming the counselors during the first few days of school. This was a big issue with us because his schedule had been changed, and he ended up sitting in the office for the first 3 days of school trying to figure out what needed to be done. So. Lastly, I would just suggest that a better appeal process be put in place for parents who feel that they need more information about the exam results. There should be a health teacher in place throughout this process who can step in if needed to speak or email with parents, just like if their student were in a normal class. This is one area where I just felt like there was a big breakdown with communication and just trying to get straightforward answers on why we felt like things weren't adding up. There wasn't, even though we were given a name, when we actually tried and did speak to this person, we just weren't given any clear answers. It was kind of, I'm sorry, they didn't do well, and there's really nothing we can do. So it would have been nice to feel like we could actually really communicate with someone who could help us. So that's it, and thank you for your time.
Consent agenda. Any changes?
Yes, ma'am, there are 3 changes. First, number 37, the start date for that is listed as 9/5. That should be 9/25. That start date has been changed to ensure that there's time to transition individuals who are coming on to the job versus going off to get to know those students because it is an autism class. Number 38, I will point out that later on in your agenda this evening, Ms. Fitzwater will be asking you for a special education aide position. And what happened is, since putting that position on, we had a student leave who had a one-to-one, and we were able to simply transfer an employee from that one that left into the position that Miss Fitzwater is asking you for this evening. So in an attempt to be proactive and make sure that they started as soon as possible, it just happens to be where they fall on the consent agenda. You would be approving someone moving into a position that you're going to approve us transitioning after that. Does that make sense?
Can I make a suggestion to pull that one from the consent agenda and then approve that one after we approve the position?
You certainly can. You certainly can. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And then number 42 is a deletion.
Any other changes?
No, ma'am. Thank you for asking.
Would somebody be kind enough to make a motion to
I'll make a motion that we remove
number 38?
38, yes, until pending, wait, yeah, 30, was it 38?
It was 38, yes, ma'am.
Okay, 38, pending our approval after the consent agenda. Under new business?
Yes, ma'am.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so now we need a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second?
Second, whatever.
Perfect.
Just write us down, Janet, we don't mind.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Perfect. All right. And we have no unfinished business. So now new business, it's the personal care aid for a student at North Jefferson Elementary. Hello.
Good evening. Yes, we have, I think I included on your board docs, the medical condition that this child has joined us. She's a pre-K student, so she has just started. She's 3 years old, and the procedure that she needs to have done requires that an aide be present. And to find that our nurse at that school is half-time. And as Dr. Gibson had said, in the meantime that I had put that on, a student moved away. Therefore, that position that was at Charlestown Middle, actually, I moved over to North.
So do we have a motion to approve the personal care aid for the student at North Jefferson Elementary?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Now, can I have a motion to approve section number 38 that we moved earlier to transfer the position, or the person, to the new position that's been created?
So I'll make a motion to approve number 38 on the
Consent
recent
agenda.
consent agenda
Second?
for this position.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. All right. Number 12, Section B, action on approval of dispensing sites for Jefferson County Schools.
Actually, I think it's...
Dispensing tank.
Oh, okay. No, you're right.
The dispensing sites?
Yes.
Dr. Hoffman, you have the honor to go ahead and, thank you.
Good evening. Every year, Jefferson County Schools joins in partnership with our community agencies on our local emergency planning council. As part of the Greater National Capital Region, we are in a group of people that want to support us across the way, not just as school, but as community members. Part of that is by entering into a memorandum of understanding with the Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Management for Jefferson County, which is, I don't know, Barb Miller, have you met her? She heads that up for us, and other agencies such as the hospital, whose name changes so much, I don't remember what it is tonight. And sometimes the health department. So those are the three main facilities. If you remember back when we had the derecho, we had this agreement in place, and we opened up TA Lowry for the 2 tractor trailers that arrived with water when we had no water. We also used it as a reference point when they were bringing a chiller in to go to our dairy farmers who needed to have their milk chilled due to lack of power. During the snowstorm, we used the schools as a warming center. We had Jefferson open as a warming center. Wildwood was open for those who had their fur babies that needed a place to go separate from the other folks. And so this agreement allows us every year to work in partnership with them and build a stronger community. And I think it's one of the best things we entered into about 10 years ago with our agencies, and very much support that they give us, we want to return. If there was a situation that required medication dispensing, these schools would open up depending on the community where it's needed. We generally look at the high school for the northern part and Washington High School for the southern part. But we also look at Blue Ridge for the mountain folks who can't necessarily get down to dispense medication. We're having an exercise on September 9th, and part of that exercise, if these are approved, the health department will set up a pod, point of distribution, at Jefferson, and they will give free flu shots to whoever stops by. So that's part of the exchange.
So we're just providing the location, and they're providing all of the services.
They always do, yes. And they're very good. They even clean up after themselves.
All right.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Now, a special needs bus operator for pre-K midday bus runs.
Yes, this is a pre-K midday bus operation, bus run for a special ed child. That special ed child, part of their IEP, they cannot be there. It's pre-K, can't be there all day, so they have to be picked up at lunchtime. And as they're picked up at lunchtime, we had this same run last year, but we riffed it because we were hoping to not need it this year. But that IEP was written that way, so we do need it. And it's outside the guidelines for us to pick it up in some other run. When we created those runs last year and we worked on those midday runs, we made sure that they were close to the morning or close to the afternoon. This is dead center of the day. So that's why we're going to need to have, and it's 1.75 hours. That's what we'll be paying them for.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And then action on approval to place Chapter 7 of the Jefferson County Board of Education Policy Manual on review.
I think if, remember probably around February or so, maybe last year, February or March, we talked about where the board approved to hire someone to try to rewrite the Chapter 7 and 8. We have Chapter 7 that's been to the attorney about 3 times, fine-tuning that we have what we think is ready to go on review. Like I say, we had the attorney's okay. We maintain consistent coordination with her. That we whittled down. You can't tell by what you have right now because it has a lot of strikeouts. So it has both the existing and the strikeouts. So it looks like a pretty lengthy document. But it will, when all those strikeouts are gone, it'll be a lot more of a trimmed down document. And I think it's an important that we put it out in review and expect to get some feedback from people. I mean, it will affect basically everyone, every student, our parents, our teachers, our guidance counselors. So I'm expecting feedback on it, that some of the feedback will be for the changes that were on here, and some of it will just be people will address things that they have concerns about how it's already written in the policy, I think. But a couple of the major things I think you'd see in the policy would be with the advent of dual credit, we have made that a weighted course in here, which we talked about that last year, so that is in this part of the policy. And some of the components we've taken out, we've put into SOPs, some of the field trip guidelines that don't really need to be board policy, we put through the SOP. And the dual credit policy is in here also. that which the state board approved in July, after our board approved that in May. That to request that we can put this out review. I don't know if you want to look at it more succinctly this evening, or if you want to put it in review, if you want to look at it right now, how the board prefers to progress with this.
I think we might as well go ahead and put it out.
Get some feedback.
Majority of the changes were come up current with West Virginia code and law. That's not, substantive changes, nothing too much as just updating the stuff so it's accurate. The information, so it's accurate information.
Move to post it.
Do a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye. I thought somebody was going to have a question.
Opposed? Did you have a question or no?
No, I just had like different wording and stuff I'll send to Pat or
I had
put
a
in there.
couple.
Yeah, just little wording things, but no real big changes.
Mr. Cable picked up on a few.
Yeah,
of
but those are all
also.
things parents and other people will pick
So
up on
you have
too.
the comments, certainly coming at. Then we want to get this done, but I could see it possibly being a comment period, then come back and put it out the second time. I don't know. I'm just thinking because it's a large document. Usually we do one section of a chapter. This is a whole chapter. It's not just one part of it. So the possibility we'll come back next board meeting and say, here are the changes now. Let's
And
put it
as you said, there's a lot in here that affects a lot of different people. So I'm pretty confident that we will get some feedback, so we can just include our feedback with that feedback at that time.
Yeah, if you would send emails, that would be great, and we'll move forward with that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, and then an executive session?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, well, I guess, do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Will we be in a meeting afterwards? We have to come back.
Is there action to be taken?
There is, it's a leave of absence request, and the details of which are, of course, confidential, and after which the recommendation will be to approve the leave of absence.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
2-minute break?
2-minute break, please.